I have had to move in the house and stay in the house for a little while. It's been raining a lot outside. It's really dark over here. I depend upon the sun coming in that way to kind of balance this out, but it's not working very well today. So, Eric from the Bucket Talks this morning. I want to talk to you for just a minute about you are not in business to try things. I know that sounds a little weird, but you're not in business to try things. Every once in a while I talk to a business owner who says, well, I tried running an ad over here. Well, you don't try running an ad, you test an ad. You test everything. Instead of trying things, you test things. It's far more important to test things than to try them. The difference between trying something is that I do it, and the only thing that I use to measure the criteria is I'm not sure. That's the problem. Not really sure what I'm using to measure to determine the criteria as to whether that thing that I tried was successful or not. Because you want it to be successful. The key is that you want to be successful. You're in business to be successful, not try stuff. I wrote a blog article this morning, which I will post in the comments just as soon as I get off the live feed. But I wrote a blog post this morning about my tech stack. And it starts out by saying you are in business to be successful, not to try out software. That's not what you're in business for. And this year, we're coming to the end of the year, and there's always a huge ramp up for the end of the year, and people are going to get bombarded with emails encouraging them to try this out, or try this, or try that, or do this, or do that, because it's going to work for you. Test things. So there's two things this morning. Two things. Number one, you're not in business to try or even to test out software. I give you all the criteria we use to make our decision based upon the tech stack that we use. And I learned a long time ago that I've had all the bargains I can afford. So we don't look at cheap anymore, because cheap is very expensive. Did you hear me say that right? Cheap is very expensive. So we don't focus our attention on things because they're a good deal. We focus our attention on things because they offer the best possible experience for our customers, because they're the ones that. So in that article, which I will post in just a little bit, there is right at the very bottom of that article, there is an ebook that I wrote a few years ago called Entrepreneurs Test Everything. Doesn't have a whole lot of content in it. It is just simply 36 things that an entrepreneur should be testing on a regular basis. Just everyday kind of stuff that you should be testing. Not trying, because trying is that you're not really even sure. But if I test something, then what I've done is I've created a list of criteria by which I'm going to measure that thing. My ad might have done this, or it might have done that, or that ad may have turned this kind of result, or this page may have had this kind of. But whatever it is, you need to be testing and not trying. All right. We've also created a really cool little product called Zap Local. While I talk about software, I created a little product called Zap Local, and built a marketing program around it. It is an amazing program. It uses your phone. You can, and the business owner doesn't need to have anything other than a phone. The customer doesn't need to have anything other than a phone. We're not talking about an app that you have to have developed, and we're not talking about an app that has to be approved, and we're not talking about an app that has to be just their phone. That's all they have to have in order to be incredibly successful, the business owner and the customer to have a great experience. And so we created that because my passion is to make things simple. Simple makes awesome easy. You know that. And so today I've given you an article on why we picked the tech stack that we basically consists of 3 or 4 pieces of software. That's it. That's all that's in that tech stack. 3 or 4 pieces of software that we use with all of our web properties, regardless of how we created that web properties. I have 2 different ways to do that. And if you're interested, I'd be glad to talk to you about that. There are 2 ways to do that. We have an amazing funnel builder and an amazing membership site. And we also use, since it's being pitched right now, we also use Convertry. And there's probably just a few people on the planet who are more experienced in using Convertry than I am. I pitched it the original pitch. And so I talk about pitching software in the article. Very brief. The article is about 700 words, so it's easy to read, but I want you to get a hold of that if you can, okay? So I will put that in the comments just as soon as I sign off here, and you'll want to run out and grab that article, check out that blog post, and then be sure and grab that article, Entrepreneurs Test Everything. No opt-in, no nothing. You just click the button and boom, you've got it. So looking forward to talking to you tomorrow on Thursday for the Thursday Bucket Talks. Thank you for joining me today. I really, really do appreciate you, all of you who've come in today. For some strange reason today, Facebook decided not to show me the numbers of how many people were on. Instead, all it's showing me is who's here. And there's quite a few of you, Tyler and Rusty and Terry. And I've seen other people fly by. I've seen Emery and Samaya and other people. So check out the blog post. I think you'll find it extremely beneficial to you. And I will put it in the comments in just a minute. Okay? Thank you for joining me. I love you. I look forward to talking to you soon.